What up, fam? This is Dr. De Luna. You are listening to Drop It Like It's Doc podcast. Today, we're going to be talking all about different lab tests that you need to request from your doctor if you are feeling anxious. So often I work with individuals that say, I went to my doctor for X and I received Y. And I say, what's going on though? Did they take a deep dive? What is the underlying root cause? And truly, that is why people come to functional medicine providers, because we do look deeper. As a reminder, your body is perfect, and any symptom that is rising up to the surface is your body asking you to take that deeper dive. And with anxiety, there's a few things that you can look at that can be truly causing this internal sense of terror, or just like you need to be constantly on guard. The first thing that you need to be screened for is anemia. Anemia is when your red blood cells are a different size and shape. This can happen from a number of different things, and it's usually from a nutrient deficiency. Most nutrients that are commonly depleted are things like iron, B12, B9, B6, and copper. So first things first, most of your doctors probably are testing your complete blood count, which is looking at your white blood cells, your red blood cells. And if your red blood cells are low or your hemoglobin is low, you are technically anemic. When you are anemic, your brain doesn't like that. And it doesn't like that because your red blood cells are what are carrying your oxygen to your brain. It's also helping you make dopamine. It's helping you self-soothe. So if your brain perceives that it doesn't have enough oxygen because you are anemic, you are going to have this internal sense of fear, this internal sense that there is something that needs to be done. So you need to check for those nutrients. If you don't eat red meat, I can almost promise you you're iron deficient. If you are a vegan, I can almost promise you that you're B12 deficient. B6 is something that is very common in animal protein, and it's also something that is very often depleted with many drugs, including hormonal birth control. Vitamin B9 is depleted with many antidepressants and a lot of very common medications. So if you started taking a medication and then noticed that you became more anxious, it could be from a nutrient deficiency leading to these different changes in neurochemistry and truly just your blood chemistry. Your brain and your whole body really likes oxygen. So that brings me to the next piece. Are you someone that holds your breath? Because if you hold your breath, you can request, and your doctor should be testing this, a comprehensive metabolic panel. It's called a CMP. This is going to be looking at your liver function, your kidney function, but it's also looking at the different chemicals in your blood. So it's looking at your electrolytes. You'll notice that on your blood chemistry, there's something called CO2. What does that, you ask? It's carbon dioxide. If you are someone that holds your breath, your body is going to change its pH, and internally, that's going to create this alarm signal that you will feel as anxiety. Absolutely want to check if that's a thing. And just in case you didn't realize, the solution there is to not hold your breath and to breathe. Something that I also see a lot of is changes in blood sugar. So if you have not subscribed to this channel yet, you're going to want to, because I talk a lot about blood sugar, a lot about anxiety, and there's actually a little mini on it if you're an anxious potato. And if you're an anxious potato and you're only eating potatoes, just kidding. But if you're eating just straight sugar, or if you fast all day and your blood sugar is going up and down and all around, that can absolutely be an underlying cause of anxiety, and you're going to want to check your blood sugar. Ideally, you want to check it fasting, because when you're fasting, you'll have an idea of what your adrenal glands are doing to manage your blood sugar when you're sleeping. This is key if you're someone that wakes up with anxiety. You're going to want to see what your fasting blood sugar is. So this includes your fasting blood sugar. It also includes your insulin, because insulin is the hormone that your pancreas makes to soak up your blood sugar. You also want to look at your hemoglobin A1C, because if you have blood sugar irregularities, or if your blood sugar tends to be higher, hemoglobin, which again is that protein that's carrying around iron and oxygen, can have sugar stuck to it, and it will make it not work as well. And you can find that in your blood work. And that really shows you the previous 3 months. So if you've, been going crazy on the cookies, holidays are coming up, and if you notice that your hemoglobin A1C is elevated, know that that can considerably change based on the choices that you make for the next 3 months. So that's a really good window into how you were doing. I just brought up adrenals. I think it is incredibly important if you are looking at your underlying causes of anxiety to check out what's going on in your sweet little adrenal glands. Cortisol makes you feel crazy, babes. It really does. So you're going to want to see what your adrenal output is. That's one of your main stress hormones is cortisol. You can also test different metabolites of epinephrine and norepinephrine. Those are more so tested in the urine. So I would start with cortisol. You can also look at some other hormones, because any of you that are cycling humans watching this may know that your anxiety may ramp up around a certain time of the month. Usually, that's the beautiful PMS period before you bleed. I really giggle to myself when my patients sit across the table from me and go, before I bleed, I just want to slit my husband's throat, run into the woods, and cry. I'm not even exaggerating when I say that. So many people say similar things like that. And you know what that means to me? It means that they are not making enough progesterone. Progesterone is something that you make after you ovulate, and it's kind of like nature's chill pill. It binds to GABA receptors in your brain. It slows everything down, and it makes you not want to kill people and run into the woods. So I would absolutely check your hormones, but for progesterone, you're going to want to test it on day 21 of your menstrual cycle. Day 1 is the first day that you bleed. I had a whole mini on this again. If you're loving this shit, please subscribe to this page. I'm just dropping so many fucking bombs on you. It's insane. It's insane. Next thing that you are going to want to look at is going to be your thyroid. Wow. So your thyroid is this butterfly-shaped gland in your throat. Please, if you are getting your thyroid tested from your doctor, because remember, I'm not your doctor unless I'm your doctor, right? But from your doctor, they might only test TSH. TSH is a brain hormone. It doesn't actually tell me what's going on with your thyroid. So you're going to want to get a full thyroid panel. What is that? That is TSH from your brain. It's also T4, T3, free T3, free T4, antibodies, reverse T3. I'm aware that I just listed 7 things. And if your doctor says that they tested your whole thyroid and didn't list all of those things, I promise you, they don't know what's going on in your thyroid, and they probably shouldn't be your doctor managing your thyroid. Okay, so the thyroid is a very, very, very common place of inflammation. You need a lot of minerals to make thyroid hormone. It's interacting with a lot of different stress hormones, reproductive hormones, blood sugar, all of it. So if anything is going off in your thyroid, you can have symptoms of anxiety or depression. Anxiety related to thyroid is because thyroid's kind of like the on switch on all of your cells. So it gets things going. And what does adrenaline feel like? It feels buzzy. It feels like everything's going. And that can be from an adrenaline or a thyroid storm. I work a lot with individuals that have Hashimoto's hypothyroidism, which is where your body is making antibodies to your thyroid. What will happen is that those antibodies bind to your thyroid. Those thyroid cells explode, and they release thyroid hormone in an unregulated fashion into your bloodstream. So you might be feeling calm, chill, cool, and collected. Then you eat a sandwich, and then all of a sudden you have a full-blown panic attack. And that is because this is a truth bomb, babes. Know that if you have Hashimoto's, I can almost promise you that your body hates gluten. Just look in the literature. Something called molecular mimicry occurs where your immune system goes, what is that gluten? Because we didn't evolve with the shit that we are fed now. Straight up, we just weren't. Gluten is so genetically modified, the protein structure has changed to the degree that your immune system literally doesn't recognize it as food. So your immune system will make antibodies against it. And that antibodies are kind of just like little keys. They bind to things so that they can be cleared out of your body, just like with claw. And if that antibody is binding to the gluten, it looks just like your thyroid. That's what molecular mimicry is. So if this antibody binds to your thyroid, it can lead to cellular destruction in which that thyroid cell releases a bunch of thyroid hormone in an unregulated pattern. This is something that I also see a lot of in individuals that have something called GAD antibodies. This is more of a specialty test. I don't know if your doctor is going to test you for this. However, this is something in which your body has an autoimmune reaction, and these antibodies bind to a part of your brain called the cerebellum, leading to a lot of symptoms of anxiety. So my babes, there's an endless amount of things that can cause this underlying feeling, but these are the most common, and these are going to change your life. If you get your thyroid balanced, your blood sugar balanced, if you are not anemic, your life will change. So if you have any questions about any of this, please drop them in the comments below. If you had a lab test that discovered something underlying in your health that changed your life and kind of lifted the veil to why you have anxiety, please leave it in the comments below so that we can all learn and grow together. If you liked this podcast, like it, share it, subscribe, turn your notifications on, because I'm not stopping forever. I'm just not going to stop. So I'm going to keep dropping bombs on you. And I hope that you are feeling a little less anxious, knowing that there's probably an underlying cause to your anxiety. Thanks for tuning in.